Hello, C. Allen Accord, Pat Max. What's up, everybody? How's it going tonight? Sorry we're a little late tonight when I scheduled the live. I screwed up, scheduled it at 7:30 instead of 7 as normal, but welcome, everybody. It's been a hectic week. We broke the car, we fixed the car. We're back up and running, so other than that, it's normal.
Hello, Carlene.
We had some stuff go on over the weekend that was planned, and then everything didn't go as planned. So we decided at the last minute, we decided at the last minute we'd go to Testing Tune because our local track normally has a Testing Tune on Friday night, but we went Saturday night. We got there, we got there at about, supposedly should have been 40 minutes before the time it was supposed to start because it said 6:30 was when it was supposed to start racing.
It said 6:30.
We pull in there and it's about 10 minutes till 6 and they're already calling slick cars to the lanes.
Yeah, I know.
So we had to hurry up and rush and unload the car. I had to get my fire suit on, get everything, take my sandals off, put shoes on because you can't race in sandals for whatever reason. In a street car, I don't understand it, but I understand it as a race car. But so nonetheless, we do that. We rush. We get up there in time. You know, the track, typical hurry up and wait. So we get up there. Didn't have time to check anything over because it said it just ended up being a rush at the last minute. We pull up. We do our burnout. I know in my mind already I got too much air in the back tires because I had them aired up because I was driving around on the road with them on earlier. And then I just took them off, set them in the garage, and I put them back on earlier in the day, Saturday. I didn't air them down. So I know right now I got 17 pounds of air in the back tires, and they don't like to hook at 17 pounds. They hook somewhere better around 12 pounds on a prep track. So we go up, we do our burnout, stage the car, launch the car. Car launches alright, it spins though probably at least 100 feet, it hazes the tires. It went a 1.7 60-foot hazing the tires. We get out around 300 feet and it starts popping and banging. So I just let out of it, coast, make it to the end of the track. I can tell it's misfiring as I pull off, come back in, hit the timing shack. By this time I know something's wrong. I get back, pull up beside my truck and trailer, pop the hood with it running, and then immediately I can see blow-by coming out of the breather. And I've done it enough times with this car that when you got blow-by coming out of the breather at idle, it does have a functioning PCV system. So when you got enough blow-by that it's overrunning the vacuum, that it's pulling it idle, and it's still chugging smoke out, or vapor out the breather tube, you know you heard a ring land. And that was the end of our night. Well, what happened though is, in a rush to get going.
Let me bring this closer.
No, it's fine, yeah, we can get it. But in a rush to get going,
Get a little bit closer.
and just putting the car together, I didn't realize I had a vacuum line that was a little longer than what I actually wanted, and it got sucked into the turbo. Well, when it did that, that was the bottom reference port on the wastegate that it cut. So now I got nothing counteracting the spring and the boost pressure that's ramping up on top. So long story short, the car hit about 25 pounds of boost, and because I was never anticipating it to go that high, I didn't even have that new tune complete to run at that. So we ended up breaking a ringland on a piston, so that ended our night. Because we didn't want to take it back out. I knew it was hurt, for one, and for number two, I didn't want to take it out and put oil on the track, because when it does have a hurt ringland, it's puking oil out. So I get back to the pit, when I open the hood, everything's covered with oil under here, as typical. So we sat and watched the races and hang out. It'd been nice, because if I'd have had a piston with me, I'm sure I had enough time that night. I could have got another pass in, really, because they ran our round. The second round, there was an oil down, and that delayed it for the third round for probably 2 hours before the third round come up. So the third round come up, and just at probably a couple cars into the third round, the Fox Mustang went on its lid as it crossed the traps, about 130. He ended up losing it in the right lane, crossing the left lane, striking the Armico barrier, back out into the track a little bit to where it turned, and it rolled and ended up upside down on the guide rail.
Oh, yeah, rack up there, yeah.
So luckily the driver was okay. The car was totaled, but the driver was okay. But being since the damage to the guide rail was so bad that by this time it was already probably 9:30 at night, they figured that they would never have it finished in time to run any more rounds, so they just called it a night. So
LP94, howdy.
what's up, Lars? So we brought it back home. Didn't even unload it. When we got back that night, it was probably around midnight when we finally got back from the track. We didn't unload it. Come out Sunday. I had something I had to do with a friend of mine. His son's had a gender reveal that I had to go to, so I took 5 minutes before I went there, because I kind of already knew, because when the car was running, I was disconnecting the coil pack to see which cylinder was down, and I determined it was number 5 on that side, because that was the only coil pack I could unplug. It made no change in the way the engine was running, and I said that was the dead cylinder.
Yeah.
So before I left quick that day, I went ahead and pulled that spark plug out, screwed in the leak down gauge, put some air in that cylinder, and as soon as I put the air in the cylinder, I could hear it going into the crankcase, so that confirmed what was going on. Come back Sunday night after that, around 6, I started taking it, tearing it apart, and
One-eyed cat.
what did I do Monday?
Evening now.
Anyway, I had it back together. We went to the car show at 6 o'clock on Tuesday evening, back together with it up and running again. We replaced that broken piston, and it's back and running again. So,
One-eyed one here. One-eyed cat.
what's up, Dawn? I gotta quit breaking it like that, but
Yeah,
it
I
is what
think
it is.
you're
It's the
breaking
nature
it
of the
quite
game.
often, ain't it?
Well, it was that new tune. When I lost everything, I had that other tune so dialed in, and there's just so many holes in this tune yet that I don't, because I'm playing with it. I need to put something else together that's a little bit rowdier, because I'd really like to have something that runs a lot faster. This car is heavy, and I'm not cutting this car up. This car is fine in its state that it's at right now. It's fun. It's fun to drive. It's a blast to drive because this turbo lights instantly. But there's still that goal. The no prep world's gotten so much faster now. I mean, probably 3 years ago, a car like this would have been competitive in the small tire class and no prep. But now, no way. Now you need 4-digit horsepower to compete in that class. I mean. It still has potential. Like I said, well, we was going to go to run it in the street class. It's got plenty of potential. In the street class, it would do well because it wouldn't be outgunned, but it's not going to hold up against race cars simply because the weight. We could get the power there, but we'll never be able to get the weight out. I mean, there's only so much you can take out of a G-body, and they're still kind of heavy. It's a full-frame car.
Was working on the car a bit ago, and
I can't wait.
shut down by rain again.
Yeah.
Hard to keep up the motivation when it's crappy weather. That was when I can't.
Yeah, Dawn, I know what you mean. This summer's been definitely weird. We've had a lot of cold nights this summer. It's just strange. You know, but according to the know-it-alls, it's the hottest, summer of all time ever recorded.
It may be hot in other states, but not
Well,
like
even
down
here-
Texas and down there. It is hot, but not here.
Like I said, even here, the thing is,
I know.
and my biggest thing I noticed is, like I said, they changed the location of where they're measuring temperature. They used to measure temperature, off on a grassy surface. Now they like to measure
It off of the
right
high-
on the airport runway. They're measuring temperature. Well, I don't know why you're getting such a hotter reading. They think we're dumb, and then what was that just come out that it was caught on someone recorded on a cell phone about a CNN reporter was talking about now their next thing, now that since COVID's over, their next thing they're going to push hard is climate change.
Oh yeah, they already trying to.
Yeah, well, we all know what that's about. That's just to enrich the people in power.
They are trying.
Yeah.
Blame it on the climate change.
The earth was
And if-
around long before people were, and it'll be around long after people are gone. And you have to be pretty arrogant to believe that, that, yeah, you might be able to localize and pollute your area or something. Yeah, that's understandable. To be arrogant enough to think that man can affect something as complex and as big as the Earth's climate. That's just a joke. Consider one volcano eruption can put out as much more carbon dioxide than man has ever since we've been industrialized. So, I don't believe their propaganda. It's just all about control and about making people rich.
Yep.
But yeah, that's where we're at right now. Everything's up and running. We're still working on a tune, still testing. Here we come hang out. It's back drivable again at least. You can go out and enjoy it. A couple little things here and there that need done, but that's cars, man. That's why we do it. It's a constant struggle. It's always something from one to another, but it is what it is.
It
We wouldn't
is.
have it any other way, probably.
Probably not. I don't think you would. You ain't working on them.
Yeah, I don't mind breaking, I said
You break them, you gotta fix them.
it's disappointing sometimes
Fix
when
them
you
and
break
break
it
'em.
when you got places to go or things to do, and put you up against the wall a little bit, but it's still, at the end of the day, I'd rather work on this any day than just work on stupid stuff. Just mundane, boring appliances that you gotta drive down the road, that would be boring.
Boring.
It could be worse, could have to work on a Toyota Camry or something.
Yeah. That's it. Could be.
But yeah, who wants to do that?
Don't know.
It's like the truck's broke right now. I gotta fix the truck because I had a spring hanger break on it.
Oh yeah. You did. Yeah,
The old 95 Ford with, I don't know, like I said, I changed the gauge cluster on that truck. It was at 280,000 when I changed the gauge cluster, probably, I don't even know how many years ago. It's been a long time. But I've owned that truck since 2008. And I've never really had to do much to it, just your typical maintenance stuff. We brought it out of retirement last Monday to pull 14,000 pound excavator to my house, so.
It did it, but it
did
didn't.
it, yeah, but that spring hanger failed on
That
the way
spring-
back.
yeah.
I had to tow it the rest of the way home with the leaf spring resting against the bed floor.
Hello, Mohawk 62.
What's up, Mohawk? Once it broke, there was nothing I could do. I was already committed. I was already down the road. Had to get the thing back. It was a borrowed machine.
Well, you did it.
Yeah,
You got
I
it back.
Yeah.
You might have
I
broke
got
that
it.
hanger thingy on there, but it's
I was
back. You
definitely
got
worried
it.
about it.
But you got that machine back to where it belongs.
When it broke, we was going down the road. When I stopped and I seen it was broke, and then we made it about a mile down the road with it. I told Dwayne, I mean, I called and told him, I was like, honestly, I said, this might be the last thing this truck ever tows. I said, this might be the last mission it's ever completed.
Maybe.
Because I was, at that point, I was really concerned with the way things were going.
I think you'll haul the car.
Yeah, it will, but that day here, it's 90 degrees out.
Yeah, it was
That truck
pretty
is
warm.
set for how long over the last couple of years? That's its problem, that it got parked and didn't get ran for all that time.
It took a rest.
Then you just get it out and proceed to pound on it. I mean, no, at no time we wasn't overloaded on the truck, because honestly the owner's manual states on a gooseneck trailer that truck can pull 24,000 pounds. So
All we know can pull a lot.
yeah, and the trailer we was towing on had brakes. And I mean, the only biggest thing I had issue was like I shut it off when I got to the gas station away on Dwayne, and I think the injectors got hot that day, because it was just, that truck always runs a little bit warm anyway. Because then I went to start it back up, it was acting like it wasn't getting fuel. And I sent a man into the store. I was like, just go in and grab me a bag of ice, because it wasn't overheating, the temperature gauge wasn't in the H or anything, so it was still, wasn't in the dangerous level. So man, huh? Yeah. Oh, I know, Colleen. I know all about it, about the steak and the earth being much hotter. Yeah. That's like when they're on there with that and they're pushing that whole thing, they forget to mention that, you know, the plants on the earth need carbon dioxide. And there was points in history where there was carbon dioxide isn't a greenhouse gas, it's a necessary gas for, you know, plant life. Which in turn, you know, turns it into oxygen for us to use. But P.T. Barnum said there was a sucker born every minute. So these people, you know, will believe anything they're told, any propaganda, you know, that we got a government that, you know, that passes laws, you know, strange, ridiculous laws. Our state just, I don't know, a few years ago passed a law, you know, they raised the tobacco age from 18 to 21 in this state. But, you know, in the same breath of these politicians that say, you know, well, you know, an 18-year-old isn't smart enough to decide that, these are the same politicians that also want 16-year-olds to be able to vote. So
That's how it goes.
it is all a scam, and it's all way out of proportion. I spent most of today while I was home, because obviously it rained and we didn't get to do much today. So when I was at the house and then I came down here to the shop, was cleaning the shop a little bit before we come on live, I was listening to the Sean Ryan show, man. You guys get a chance to that interview. He done an interview with a Canadian sniper. He holds the world record shot for the longest kill shot, over 3 kilometers,
Wow.
3,000 yards. But it's like a 5-hour interview, man. But man, is it good. And he quit because Canada wanted to force him to get the jab. He quit. He just wouldn't.
Yeah, well, nobody wants
But man, what a genuine guy. If you guys get a chance to check out that Sean Ryan show, check that out, because I mean it's an amazing interview, and he got some amazing guests on there. I've been binge listening to it while I'm out here in the shop working. I usually put it on and listen to it. But you hear that guy's story, all that stuff we've been through, and then, you know, you get a guy that could have taught future generations, you know, about what he learned and how to use them skills, but they kicked him out because he wouldn't take the shot. You know, so it's a crazy world. But if that's the case, if they're ramping up on their agenda about ramping up the climate change agenda, everybody keep your head on a swivel, because you know they're coming after our engines.
Oh,
It's
they
been
will.
war on them, but you know, I don't think they'll ever stop. There's no other form of energy on this earth that just has the power potential that, you know, gasoline and diesel give us. I mean, you know, look at the amount of work that a gallon of gasoline can do. I mean, just that simple. Look at the amount, or a gallon of diesel fuel in a piece of equipment. Look at the amount of work that you can extract from that. You show me what more energy dense substance on Earth like that. Yeah, nuclear for power. Yeah, okay, but that's because it's going to have to be stationary, and that works well. But as for a mobile, what else do you got? Electric can't do it. You know, our grid is so vulnerable.
They'll be blowing all kinds of transformers tomorrow and stuff. Probably everybody running air conditioners and electric cars.
Yeah, well, we don't have enough electric now. Yeah, that's it. We don't have enough electric now, but yet we're supposed to somehow magically get this electricity for everybody to run an electric car.
Whenever you don't even have enough when it's hot out to run
Yeah.
everybody's air conditioner.
Yeah, and then, you know, newsflash, it's summertime in the northern hemisphere. It usually does get warm. You get months, especially end of July, early August. That's, you know, typically that's the warmest time of year. As long as I can always remember, you know, because our local county fair always starts the last Thursday night of July for 10 days. And it's always in the 90s when the fair's in. Always.
Yeah.
It always rains opening night. It rained today, but it's always been in the 90s. Upper 80s, lower 90s. My whole life that I can remember, it's like that, except you'll have a cool day here and there where it rains. But other than that, it's always been that temperature. I don't see nothing different. I don't see nowhere hotter. The only thing it's gotten said in that situation, the only thing that's really changed is how they record temperature and how they portray it to us.
They say our normal temperature is 83 degrees this
I
time.
know.
83.
Well,
How
see,
can that
that's
be
where they
wrong?
skew the numbers between the normal. I know you noticed they did that years ago. They went from, when you're talking, usually instead of saying normal now, they'll say your average temperature.
Yeah.
Because the average temperature is easily skewed. All it takes is one cold day on that day to be cold, and then that can drop your average. Yeah, the average temperature for the end of July in southwestern Pennsylvania is only 83 degrees.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what they say.
Yeah, if 83 degrees would be considered cool for this time of year. I mean, it just like it's just all. They tell people stuff, you know, and people just soak it up like a sponge. It's just crazy that nobody has enough common sense to ask ourselves logically of what they're hearing, if they believe it. I mean, when I turn it, I don't sit down and watch it because I don't believe none of it. But if in passing, if I'm walking through and I hear something on, you know, the news or weather or whatever, and I hear them say something like that, and I just gotta laugh and be like, it's not how I remember it. I mean, you might be able to pull that off in another 30 or 40 years to tell us, you know, you can go back before we were born and say it was hotter then, but it's kind of hard to go on there and tell me that it's hottest it's ever been when I remember it being hotter. I mean, look, what was it, 2012 when we was at that time we was at camp, we had that heat wave. The
Yeah.
whole time we was there, it was close to 100 for a whole week.
Yeah.
But yet the other day, I don't think it made 90 that day, did it? And it was the hottest day on record around here, they said. Hot.
That ain't him, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
it
him?
is. Yeah, he
Okay, I'm
was lenient.
laying my phone here and I'm gonna get something.
He was lenient. Yeah, and I think, you know, it's just all, it's all about controlling us, man. And they don't like our breed because, you know, the hot rodder breed, man, we improvise. You know, we do what we gotta do. We make things work. It's just in our nature. I'm a tinkerer by nature, man, and anything, if it's mechanical, I'll work on it, I'll figure it out. And I'll make something that fits my need. And I don't know, man. Some days I think it's like they push us on purpose just because they want someone to snap out. And I don't want to see that because they want that. That would be their reason to crack down and come down on us hard. It's just all a game to them. They try to tell us that up's down and left's right, and this and that. And she is he and he is she, which I don't doubt those people. They believe they are. That's fine. But let's talk to those people and not make rash decisions and force everybody else around to go along with it. Those people. Let's talk to those people and figure out what's going on, what's wrong.
I said exactly.
That's the thing. Instead of helping people, we encourage the population as a whole to go along with someone else's delusions. And that's not healthy. And it's just not healthy. You can go have all the surgeries you want. You can't change it on a DNA level, so you'll never be the other. You are what you're born. I'm sorry that some people feel that they're not what they are, and I truly do feel sorry for those people because, that they're having issues, man. But we should be helping those people, not encouraging it.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
Encouraging.
Instead of encouraging it,
help them.
And just telling the whole population, well, you better go along with this or you're a bigot. No, let's try to talk to these people and help them through their confusion. And then now you got people confusing young children, to do that, and that's a crime. Leave the kids alone. Let kids be kids. They don't know anything about this stuff. He should by now.
He's stupid.
But kids shouldn't know anything about that stuff. Nothing. Kids shouldn't know anything about any kind of gender, or kids shouldn't be encouraged that they can be another gender. None of that. Let it be kids. Kids should be worried about, what they're going to do outside, what they're, are they going to play kickball today, or are they going to play baseball, or are they going to ride their bikes, or are they going to go swimming with their friends? What game they're going to play. That's what kids should be concerned about. They'll have plenty of time for all that other stuff when they're grown, when they're adults. Stop forcing the young kids to act older than what they are, and stop forcing adult subjects on these young kids.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, they're grooming them. That's what they're doing. They're grooming them.
And they shouldn't. They should never.
You confuse a kid early. If you take a kid that's has no idea about their identity and you start telling them, oh, you can be whatever you want, you confuse that poor kid. Of course that kid's going to come up and say that, because now, especially in this day and age, we reward it. So now, as a young kid sitting around, if he feels he's not getting enough attention, either be from his parents or his friends, he or she, now all of a sudden all they got to do is say, well, I want to be trans, and instantly now they get all the attention they need. And I truly believe a lot of these young kids, the ones that aren't confused, are probably doing that too, because it's a form, because kids need that attention. And if they're not getting that attention, they're going to seek attention. And what a great way to seek attention to say that, because like I said, now you're a hero if you say that, so.
Yeah.
Oh, I know it's going to be the downfall of our civilization if we don't stop this nonsense soon. Because it's getting to a point soon, it said, and I guess this brings it up with Canada, that sniper, he said that even before the shot, he said when he come back from his last deployment, he said he was forced to take sensitivity training. So you're meaning to tell me here's a man that's devoted most of his adult life to being the best sniper there is, to being a man out there protecting soldiers on the battlefield by scaring the enemy that, hey, if I put my head up, somewhere out there's a guy with a rifle that's going to take it off. You know, and that even though not shooting people, just the enemy knows that there's a guy out there somewhere doing that. The psychological effects can win a war. But this man, trained to do that, says he gets back from his deployment and he's forced to go to sensitivity training to be taught how not to hurt nobody's feelings.
Ah, that ain't good.
How are you going to win a war when you're training your warriors that feelings are more important?
Yes, you're not.
Yeah, you're not. And any of these countries that know that would just walk all over us.
Yeah.
I guess now to defeat our army, it ain't now because there's still enough old school guys around that does it. But if you continue this trajectory in a couple more generations, all the enemy's going to have to do is stand up and call them names or misgender them. They're going to throw down their guns and run off crying.
Yeah, that Bud Light. Yeah, Bud Light. They're
Oh, they're hurting.
They're really hurting because there's 380. I think they said people lost their jobs already.
Yeah, and those poor people
Bud
lost their
Light.
job. They don't want to do that. They didn't want. That's how Bud Light cares about its
It
employees.
was on.
because
I heard that today. It was 300. I think they said 380.
Oh, Anheuser-Busch, man, is in the tank. And deservedly so. Because
Bud
they
Light.
even said, you know, that ad campaign of doing that was to go after a younger audience. They needed younger drinkers.
Yeah.
That was out of their own mouth. They wanted to get, you know, so they get what they deserve. They get what they deserve. That's just it. And then Jason Aldean come out with that, try that in a small town.
Yeah,
He backed down though already. Because he's going to edit it. He's editing out the BLM references.
He should.
Yeah,
He had more
because
country
everyone-
singers
he had
backing
enough-
him up.
He had the #1 song on iTunes, #1 on Spotify. All the other video formats, this song was fire. But CMT wouldn't play it, so what did he do? He agreed, well, we'll edit it out so to make everybody... No.
No, I
So
wasn't.
I knew that. That's his problem. These people need to have a backbone to stand on this stuff. There was the majority of people was behind him, not against
Oh, there
him.
were a lot of people behind him.
Yeah, they
other
were
country
behind him.
singers too. But I didn't know he backed down.
Oh yeah, he backed down. That's it. Said they edited out the BLM references. You know, I seen the news tonight. And I told you I walked in there. They was celebrating. They said, "Oh, it's the 10th year anniversary for BLM." You know, well, in reality, BLM killed more black people than the cops that were supposedly, you know, killing the black people in the first place.
Yep. One Eyed says by them banning that song, they pushed it to #1.
Yep, and then he backed down.
Wow.
And he agreed to edit the BLM references out of it.
I'd never done that.
No. No, you got, that's, I said, you know, that's it.
That's bound down to them.
Yeah, because they're a minority. They are a loudmouth, very small percentage of our population. They get on these platforms that amplifies their voice and it makes it seem like there's a lot more, but you ask yourself when you're out in public. I haven't, anywhere I've been, I haven't seen anybody with a Bud Light can in their hand. Nobody. Not anywhere people's drinking. There ain't no Bud Light cans.
Reggie said his woman sent you a message.
Yeah.
He wants to know would Subaru seats work in the Tahoe? LOL.
No. Why, how would they?
No, Brenda.
The Subaru seats. Or Suburban seats is probably what he meant.
Suburban, maybe. Yeah, that's what she said.
Well,
But
yeah,
still.
that would work. Suburban seats,
Oh,
but,
okay. Yeah, Suburban.
but not Subaru.
Yes.
Yeah, a Suburban seat would probably work.
Well, the
It's
heart's
same
in,
year.
the heart was in my way, and I didn't see it all.
But he hasn't no like that. He does that stuff with that.
They got that heart stuff on here.
He's got there. There's just this other idiotic stuff that we're forced to deal with. Okay, that there. Can't
Yes.
just change the seats because the seats they're heated seats and air conditioned seats and
Why do
they
you want-
buzz when you get out of your lane and all that. So you can't just go to the junkyard and grab a
Am I-
set of seats. He wants to put a bench seat in the front. That way it can. I told him to get one out of a pickup the same year that had the same options. It should be able to get
Yeah,
a bench.
Suburban.
A Suburban bench seat should fit as long as it had the same options. It should fit. If it didn't have the same options, then that stuff isn't going to work. That's all. The seat will bolt in physically. It's just the air conditioned seats and all that probably ain't going to work.
Yeah.
Well, I got one vehicle. I think I got two, but I don't drive the one. The air condition does work in the Monte Carlo, but I don't really drive it in the summertime. And the air condition works in the pickup truck.
They're heated and powered like ours.
What is it?
She said they're heated and
They
powered
should work.
like
If they're out of
theirs.
the same year, they should work. We might end up having to program the BCM to recognize them, you know what I mean? Because that's CAN bus stuff you're getting into, so. But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. I refuse to bow down and live our life, you know, because of a small minority of people get their little fifis hurt. Sorry about them. I live by the motto, don't bother me, I won't bother you. Leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. And that's basically all that Try That in a Small Town was saying. He was just saying, hey, don't come around a small town and try to rob people and do that, because people in a small town ain't going to deal with it. Our big cities are ruined right now. You go to our big cities, it's a shame, our big cities. You know, the violence.
Can you repeat? He didn't hear. He said what? He didn't hear what you said.
Well, they should work. I mean, but as long as they're out of the same year, but you might have to program the CAN bus to them because, you know, they're probably going to be a different CAN ID. I mean, but it should be able to work. You probably need like a Tech 2 tool or something to reprogram them to fit. The body control module probably might not recognize them. But they can be programmed in because it's a GM thing. That's the nice thing about GM stuff. You can change costs. You can file swap a lot of that GM stuff and change it over. It
Yeah.
took him that long to realize I was live
I
every
guess.
Thursday.
Yes, guys. You know he's live every Thursday, usually at 7 o'clock.
Get chewed up by mosquitoes.
7 p.m. Thursdays.
It's probably climate change. A lot of mosquitoes are biting me.
Oh yeah, they like her.
Matter of fact, it's just been so wet this
It's been wet.
few weeks, yeah.
I might put some more. I'll put a little bit on
Well,
them.
yeah, that's all that was right. Our big cities are ruined, man. It's just terrible. Anyone's just run by, you know, we know who the people in charge and what beside there, the Uniparty. You know, the same way with that. You know, I can't believe it. Honestly, I can't believe it in D.C. that judge rejected Hunter's plea bargain.
Yeah, that was good.
Because they tried to sneak it in. It was in there in the paperwork that he would have been immune to prosecution for any other current, ongoing, or future investigations. That was part of the plea bargain. So had the feds agreed to that and sentenced him, all the other stuff he did, he couldn't have been charged for anymore. They said it would have given him blanket immunity to everything he's done.
Yeah. Glad they did turn it down.
So I'm glad but that poor judge, she needs protected because, I
She
mean,
probably
she's
will be.
guaranteed she's a target now.
Oh, I guarantee you. Poor Hunter has a bad day. Had a bad day yesterday. LOL. One eye.
Exactly. Hey, Dawn, well, and now if that was you or I that lied on a federal gun form, I mean, and you get a plea bargain that says, hey, yeah, you'll be exempt from any prosecution on any ongoing investigations too. Plus, Wesley Snipes went to jail for 3 years for not paying his taxes. Hunter didn't pay taxes. You know, I haven't even heard name mentioned about him paying it back or paying his back taxes. And there's nobody mentioned that.
No, they don't mention much.
These people think they're above the rules. There is nobody above the rules. Instead of talking about that today, what do they got to do? They talk about, well, there's more people and more charges coming on Trump.
Yeah.
The president cannot be charged. And they left in that indictment, when they charged him with the documents, they left out the fact, the presidential privilege he has to declassify any document. That wasn't even when they told the jury why they was charging this up, the grand jury to bring the charges. They left that part out.
Yeah.
So once this goes, it's nothing. All Trump had to say is that it's thinking in his mind, this is no longer classified. The act of him showing it to somebody automatically declassifies that. The president has that power.
Yeah.
That power is granted to him. However, the document's stuffed in the garage
In
beside
the garage beside his
Corvette.
Corvette.
That guy wasn't president, so he couldn't declassify anything at that time. That stuff happened, he had possession of those documents before he was president. And vice president doesn't have that authority that the
He's
president
from a
has.
long line of worthless freaks. Alan, of course, says.
Yeah.
I said show or hide.
You can show it.
Show it.
We can show it, we'll get into it, because like I said, they're telling me they
Another
can't find
moderator
it.
handled this already.
Huh?
Another moderator handled it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's the thing. They can't find out who brought the cocaine to the White House.
Yeah.
You don't have to sign and show ID, and they know everything that comes in and out of that White House. Nothing gets delivered in that White House. Nobody comes to visit in that White House. Every name in and out of that White House, they know who's in and out. And they try to play it off. Well, we found a little bit of cocaine.
In the one room.
Who do we have video of smoking crack cocaine on a laptop
Wouldn't know, would we?
with prostitutes that he paid for with his dad's credit card, smoking cocaine? Huh. You know what? I bet it was probably either Eric or... Because remember, they tried to blame. That was the thing about with Don Jr. and Eric. They were called them, they were dope heads and this and that.
Yeah.
But it would made a big deal, you know what I mean? If Eric or Don Jr. would have had a Tylenol in their pocket, they would have probably arrested them and tried to charge them with something to come into the White House, you know what I mean? Because I remember when the media trashing them, but it's okay. He was probably kicked back in a Lincoln bedroom with a prostitute, smoking crack. Laughing at all of us idiots out here that get up and go to work every day and keep the country running. Oh, look at them bunch of fools. We got this idiot now at an all-time low.
No way, Hunter. No way. Coke, hard would do that.
No, not at all.
Cokehead wouldn't do that. See, the heart's in the way.
Yeah, he would never do that.
No way.
Biden can't walk up the flight. They're taking him now. They're taking him in the back of the Air Force One now. They don't take him up the tall steps. They're taking him in the lower steps now because he can't walk up steps. He gets lost, wanders off stage, and gets lost. That guy don't even know what planet he's on right now.
He don't.
All he knows is sniff little kids. There was a video of that. It just come out. I just seen like last week about him.
Huh.
And these are people that think it's appropriate. That
Hello, Schultzy.
thinks it's appropriate, like they kiss family members, little girls, to kiss them on the lips. That's not appropriate.
No. Family or not family. You don't
Family
do
or not family, no. It's just not. I mean, I know there's not about it. I don't even like, even with family, I was never comfortable. Yeah, okay, fine, changing a boy's. I was never comfortable changing a little girl's diaper, family or not. I'm still not comfortable because a man shouldn't have to touch. No, I understand they need their diaper changing, they need cleaning, but you never get used to it and never get comfortable with that. Not with my kids, not with anybody's kids. It just ain't right. They're all scared now. Why they want to? Because I know it's been mumbled about. Because a certain individual who used to be president, he mentioned one time about the death penalty for pedophiles. I think pedophiles should be stuffed in a wood chipper feet first.
Yeah, they should be.
An idling wood chipper. Don't even give them the mercy of turning the RPM up. Just stick them in at idle. That'd be cool. We I have this really nice wood chipper that has slant six in it. This one company, this one tree service I worked for, they had Chrysler slant sixes on our wood chippers.
Yeah.
They'd fire them things up in the morning, crank them wide up, throw it, they'd sit there all day. They'd burn a hole in the asphalt where under the exhaust, and things just sit there screaming all day long. There's some things in this world that need put in those wood chippers.
Oh, yep. There
You know?
it is.
Because you notice, I mean, that movie, that come out, The Sound of Freedom, you notice it, the news instantly, it's a Q conspiracy and this and that. All the Hollywood elites were sweating about that. That movie was on, plans to be made 5 years ago, but Disney shelved it. And it wouldn't have seen the light of day as long as Disney owned it. And what happened, I guess the guys got together and they bought the rights to it, from Disney so they could make it.
He says, line him up. I volunteer to run the chipper free of charge, Dwayne said.
There you go. Yep, because you can't fix it. They always repeat offend. It doesn't matter. Anybody who's that sick in the brain always will. Can't fix that. Anybody who lies to themselves and thinks they can fix it is just lying to themselves. If we do anything in this world beyond hot rods, beyond any of this, we need to protect the children. And this whole woke trans agenda, is partially, that's all about going after the children. Is what it's
Pat will
about.
pay for the fuel.
That's it.
He'll pay for the fuel for
That's
the wood
it,
chipper.
because that's what it's about. It's going after children, man. We got to protect the children. They said they don't like us hot rodders, man. They don't. Because why? Because we're real. We're real people. We know all about it.
Yeah.
And they don't like that. That scares them. You can't lie to me. You can't tell me a guy, and we'll say it again, it might be wrong, right, wrong, or indifferent, but you can't tell me a guy who had to go to a Jeep dealership and let them use it, and then pay people off the street to come in and stand in these new Jeeps and pretend to have a rally because he won that night. You can't tell me that guy that has the lowest approval rating of any president since they've been taking it, you can't tell me that guy got more votes than Obama did. So like I said, people voted for Obama just out of sympathy. Just because they thought, that it might heal. And what did Obama do? No. Obama didn't care about healing the country. Obama used race against, we're more divided now. We was all getting along.
Yeah.
And that's the honest truth. And prior to 2008, the majority of whites and blacks in this country were getting along. The past is past. You can't change it. I never owned no slaves. Our families never owned no slaves. So why is it our fault because of that? I mean, our founders were smart enough, that they knew. And of course, everybody comes back and throws in, well, they had the 3/5 clause in the Constitution. Well, yeah, they understood that because they knew also our country was very delicate at that time, and the only way we was going to get a Constitution to be ratified was they wasn't going to be able to touch that because we needed the southern states. So the 3/5 compromise happened because what happened is here's how the South wanted to do. The South wanted to count every slave as a citizen, okay? They wanted to count them as a citizen so they had more representatives. That way they could add more control of
Don't
the
know
government.
anyone ever did.
What is it?
Don't know anybody that ever did.
Yep.
Pat.
Yep. Yeah, we were all getting along, man. It doesn't matter. But it just that they knew that if they didn't do that, the southern states, the slave states, would have had more representatives and would have continued it. And the only way to get rid of it is they just put that in there, and they knew that would help curtail the South's power until the time which, it could be abolished. Yeah. they blame it, and that's the bad thing is all white people, get blamed for that. White privilege isn't that, but look how many white people died that didn't have to in the Civil War because they fought. They fought to keep this country together, you know what I mean? And it was more than that. So there was a lot more to the Civil War than just slavery. I mean, I know that schools won't teach that, but there was a lot more to it. But at the same time, a lot of people died trying to fight to keep the country together, so. But I guess, no, that doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is today's BLM's 10th year anniversary. Like I said, BLM's killed more black people than the cops are protesting against in that time period. Because when they riot and carry on and burn things down, it always ends up black people end up getting shot and their stuff destroyed too. And it's these rich elites that push this stuff because, it helps them by getting the black people all wound up and let them send them out to destroy everyone else's stuff. That helps the elites. And by keeping us all divided, they feel safe. A house divided can't stand, and that's the whole point of why the government does this stuff, is to keep us all at each other's throat, arguing and bickering and fighting over all this little stuff that, we're hot rodded, we're the bad guys, we got, our cars burn gasoline, our cars burn diesel. My car uses renewable fuel.
Yeah.
My car's green. My car runs on, corn fuel. But corn fuel, it really, for what it's for, E85 is a failure, because the government subsidizes it. As the thing, I went the other day, paid $3.29 a gallon for E85. With all the government subsidies, this stuff should never be like that, because the government's paying the farmers to grow corn for fuel versus corn for food. You got all these different exemptions that come in. Now, instead of passing that off to the person who needs the fuel, because fuel, gasoline, diesel fuel, E85, whatever it is, fuel, we're back to that again. Fuel is what keeps our economy going. Goods and services have to have fuel to move. And that's just the bottom line. And that's what's hurting people right now. Not only do you have inflation, but then when fuel's up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's $3.89.
It's a shame, yeah, there you go. That was the thing, is just in our lifetime before all this craziness, I remember that Ford pickup, man. My 95 Ford with the dual tanks. I could go to the local gas station for like $30. I could fill both tanks. You had 2 tanks of fuel. So imagine what fuel was in '73 when our motorhome was new. That's why it's got a 75-gallon auxiliary tank plus the 2 40-gallon fuel tanks.
Yeah.
But I understand you didn't make as much money then. But fuel, because of everything, because of wages and everything went up a little bit, $2 would be a reasonable amount for fuel.
Fuel's going up again.
Yeah.
It just
I'm
went
saying
up.
it, I know. But $2 a gallon would be a reasonable number that where the economy would flourish. We had a guy had it down to that pretty much.
Pretty much. Now look at it. At one time it was $5 and something.
Yeah.
$5.05 or
And look
something.
what happens when that happens. People got to decide whether to pay their bills or put gas in their car.
And would they have to? Yeah, but you probably have to put gas in their car so they can get to work to pay the bill.
Yeah, well, that's why
But
you have, that's
the choice they got.
when you have these big economic downturns in our economy, what always happens. Fuel goes up in the economy because you can't go. We like to go out and do things.
Yeah.
Last Saturday night to go to an evening, go to a testing tune. It's $150 to go to a testing tune. By the time you put fuel in the truck, fuel in the car, drive there, You know, you pay to get in.
Turnpike fees.
You know, you get a hamburger and fries at the track, you know what I mean, to try to help your track, buy a little bit of food there too, you know what I mean, spend some money in the concession stand, because that's where where they're making their money. You know, but you got $150 spent.
That's just, yeah. That ain't if there any more people would have went.
Yeah,
That's
that's just for two people to go to the track.
That was just for you two. Right, and me and Tommy, when I went, it'd have been $300.
No, it wouldn't have been 300. You guys would have went, it would have been an extra, because it was only $15 a person to get in for spectators that night.
Oh, it would have been like 200.
But that's just the point. It just, when the price of fuel goes up like that, though, people can't go do things. It hurts everything. And, you know, I believe, you know, that's probably, you know, that the economy's so bad, that's just why we've been a little slow this year with it, because no one can afford, and they went up. You're gonna have, you know, $5,000-$6,000 in a pool in your backyard now.
That's a lot.
About your only option is anymore is just, you know, skip the vacation and put a pool in your yard, which we hope more people do, but it's just crazy with everything, you know, and as long as, you know, but we can give billions of dollars to Ukraine, putting our nose in something that really doesn't even belong in. You know, why we're doing that's beyond me. Well, I know why we're doing it, because all the money laundering that's went on in Ukraine. You know, it wasn't that many years ago when the news was talking about the Ukrainian army, you know, and its Nazi ties, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, they were bad Nazis then, but now they're all right, because, you know, they're, you know, I like the pattern the country after is back when we used to be isolationists. You know, we just stick to ourselves. If you didn't come over here and bother us, we didn't bother you. Well, right now there's so much corruption in our government, you know what I mean? We pretty much let China come in and take over half the country, you know, without a shot fired. I mean, China owns a lot of our farmlands, you know, there's so much stuff, and you just can't get this stuff. And if you could, yeah, I'm guilty of it. I might run a Chinese turbo and stuff here because you can't afford, that's the only thing we can afford. You know, I was looking today, tire rod end. I got to put a tire rod end on your car. Remember that tire rod end back? Okay. Yeah, that tire rod end is $52 at AutoZone. You know what that tire rod is on Amazon? $11.99.
Well, I'll be getting it off Amazon then.
As I said, it's not that you want to. It's just, yeah, it's not that anybody wants to.
I
support
can't
this
afford
stuff.
the
You can't afford not to.
$52.
You can't keep a car running if you got to go pay. And these parts stores in their markup, I don't even know, honestly, I don't know when you walk in a parts store how there's anybody in there anymore. They mark their stuff up so much, I don't know how anybody goes in there.
Like you said, they wanted $450 for that muffler.
$450 for a muffler.
Yeah.
No, no.
For that, Mitsubishi or whatever
Yeah,
it's called.
Mitsubishi is a Galant or something.
Yeah. $450.
Yeah, a $450 Mitsubishi Galant muffler from the parts store. $450. That's
Yeah.
no cat or nothing. That's just a muffler.
That's just a muffler. That's what
Back
they told her.
But well, that's not even an OEM one. That's an aftermarket replacement muffler.
They told her $450. I told her get Universal.
Get a universal muffler one. All I need to make it quiet.
I told her that.
I'd run without a muffler before I paid $450. I run without mufflers anyway.
She said it ain't that loud anyway. Without
Yeah, because the
muffler.
cat will quiet. Cat makes them pretty
Yeah,
quiet.
she said it ain't that loud.
Just put a
She
straight
run
pipe.
it like that until she gets.
Just put a straight pipe on it. Out, as long as you get the exhaust out from underneath the car, it won't be that loud anyway. But it's gonna get, I don't know, if, you know, they're saying about, the Brexit nations going, you know, to their currency, man, and it's gonna happen at some point if our government keeps printing money, it's going to happen at one point. These other countries are no longer going to accept our dollars as world currency. When that happens, our economy's done. That's it. That's going to be a blow that's going to be real hard to recover from. No longer when our dollar isn't, because right now, these oil-producing nations are starting to accept other forms of currency. Used to it was the U.S. dollar. You wanted to buy a barrel of oil, you had to buy it in U.S. dollars.
Yeah, what, no more.
No, because our money's worthless because they've been printing so much of it to give away.
Unfinished project.
What's up,
You
buddy?
can sleep in your car, but you can't.
Grace your house.
Just a bunch of bucks.
Yeah. That actually came about. That was a real conversation that started on.
Really?
Yeah, that whole thing. That's where that sleep in car can't race your house thing come around because it was talking about houses and everything. And it was my thing. I was like, a person doesn't need a fancy, extravagant house. All you need is a house that keeps you dry and warm and provides all the essentials that you need. It keeps, keeps the rain off of you, keeps the snow off of you, keeps you warm. It keeps you a comfortable place, this and that. You don't need super fancy. For one thing, you don't drive your house around. Your house is there. So really the only people seeing inside your house and that is your people that you
Come to visit you or something.
and those are people in your life that shouldn't be the ones judging anyway. So a modest house is all a person needs. However, your car, you're out in public with it everywhere. Everybody sees your car. So if you have a little bit fancier car that people see, they're gonna say, well, it's a nice car. No one drives to the gas station or Walmart and rides by and says, hey, the house is pretty nice inside or whatever, what they do with your car. And I was like,
Now you tell me, he says.
And I was just like, I was talking to him, and I was like, well, here's the thing. I was like, you can lay down and go to sleep in a car. You can sleep in your car. You can't race your house. And it was more of an argument because I said that if I had money, if I had lots of money, but I didn't have an unlimited source of money, that I wouldn't waste a lot of money on a house. I would have a house that had everything it needed, but I wouldn't waste money on a super fancy house. I was like, because your house is just to go there and sleep. Usually you're going to be in the garage working on your car anyway, so what does it matter? And that's when I was like, and I told him, I was like, well, here's the thing. I was like, you can sleep in a car, but you can't race your house, so I'll put my money in my car, not my house. And that's where it comes from. That was years and years ago. I said that. I used to tell Duff that. Told everybody that for years. And it's just how I always felt. Sleep in your car, but you can't race your house.
I guess. Yes.
No, it's true.
Oh yeah, you can't race your house.
Everybody tries to be clever, mobile home or whatever. No, but it's not a house. You can live in the mobile home, but mobile home's technically not a house. And mobile home racing is probably pretty slow. You're going to need a lot of torque to get that thing moving.
Pat Mack said he knows someone from South LA sold their 3 bedrooms, 1 bath for $3.1 million, and house here is barely $60K.
Yeah, I know. The housing market, that's another thing, and that's
a lot of money.
well, that's what happened to the car market, the same thing. And that around here, the used car market just went ridiculous for a while. It's finally now, it's starting to come back under control. But you know what happened in 2020? They was giving away all that free money. And all these people that never worked, never looked for no job, they was all getting, and I know people that got like $15,000, $18,000 from unemployment. And I can't wait till one day, I hope that they go through those books. And these people that got this stuff that didn't deserve it, least got to pay it back, because that all then people, then you had people walking around that never had money. Now all of a sudden they're walking around with 10 grand. They were paying way too much for cars because that money didn't mean nothing to them. They got it for free.
Yeah.
They didn't have to work for it, so that money meant nothing. So, and they was paying stupid money. They was buying, like mid-80s, Chevy Celebrities, for like $3,000-$4,000 because it was a running car. What's wrong with you people?
That ain't gonna happen.
I understand how value of a thing goes up and all that, but I'm sorry. Me personally, I know I'll never have something super nice because I just have this thing. I know money changes and the value of money changes. I will never pay more for a vehicle than that thing cost brand new when it rolled off the factory.
No.
And there you go. That means I'm never going to have no Dodge Charger or any of that. Would like to have one, but I'm not going to pay $80,000 to $100,000 for a car that was only like $3,000 brand new. My mind don't work that way. I can't do that. I understand that muscle cars, they were cheap back then. Everybody could afford them.
Back in the day.
Yeah, okay, so you might have worked for $1.25 an hour, and $3,000 was a lot, but still proportionally it wasn't a lot. You were still getting a brand new car.
What do you have against Chevy Citation? So about. What do you have against the cars?
I got nothing against them. They're just not worth thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah, they got you something against.
That's a good car that you pick up for like $800, and you run the thing for 10 years, and the thing doesn't, require anything but fuel put in the tank.
Bad kind. They ain't too bad.
No, I like I said, mid '80s, early '90s, GM front-wheel drive cars were reliable.
Mm-hmm.
There were some ones you'd get a lemon every once in a while, but for the most part, those cars were reliable. So I think automotive technology hit a pinnacle, around 2000, because you had DFI, you had overdrive transmissions, you had all the refinements you needed, but it was before body control modules and stuff started really taking over. So everything still was mechanically wired and physically wired, the switches and stuff. And then as we got more into the 2000s, then you got a body control module that nothing works in the car when that module goes bad, because nothing's actually wired to anything. The window switch is wired.
The my car, yeah.
The
My
window
car.
switch is wired to a body control module.
Yeah.
So you push the window switch button, it sends a signal to the BCM. The BCM closes the relay to run the window.
Yeah.
Now, for all the years prior to that, a power wire ramped on a switch to the window motor. Up, down. It worked perfectly fine that way. Why did we need to complicate it?
Those were 30,000 Ks, miles to away, cars, and still better than what we got now.
Yeah. Well, I've had a lot of GM stuff from that era, man, with, well over 200,000 miles.
I hate this.
Just like them old, the 1987 to 1995 GM throttle body fuel injected motor. What a dog. That motor, what was that motor? It was like 225 horsepower or something. But that thing, it was as reliable as the sun coming up tomorrow morning. And that, like I said, that Chevy Tahoe I had one in, 310,000 miles on the thing, and the thing still ran.
Yeah.
Didn't really use it. Maybe you might have put a quart of oil in it, between the oil changes, but that's it. It just ran and ran and ran. That old Monte Carlo,
That old my car
it's
though.
got 230 or 260,000 miles or something. It runs perfect. The body's just failing.
Yeah.
So.
Just like them Cavaliers I had.
Oh yeah, I had Cavaliers. As long as it's a non-Ecotech car, Cavaliers are good cars.
It's like that
The
one
Ecotech
day.
cars made better power, but they just didn't have the reliability. They were just pushing them little motors too hard. And then they went and they complicated things. You had, you know, like the 2.2 and the 2200, you know, they were a push rod motor. Nice and simple.
So that's when it goes bad. Costs more to repair than a new one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably really the only reason why. I wouldn't doubt that.
Unfinished project.
And then, you know, how convenient that not only that unfinished project, you know, then we go past a bunch of emission laws that you can't take a newer body and retrofit an old motor in it because of emissions.
Oh yeah.
If that was the case, you'd see a lot of stuff rolling around. You know, I mean, and that comes down to reason. I don't think you probably can't even buy a car with roll-up windows anymore. They probably don't even make them.
They probably don't.
I know years ago it was heading that way when Calvin bought that Power Stroke Ford that time. When the Power Stroke first, well, the 99 and up body style, when it come out, I think his was a 2000 or 2001 Power Stroke though. He went in and he told him, he's like, I don't want one with AC in it because it's a work truck. They said, we don't make them that way. They all have AC. That truck did have manual windows in it though, but my body style is the last American vehicle to have wing windows.
Huh.
The 97 Ford pickup with that body, that's the last generation of American car that still had wing windows.
Wing windows was air conditioning.
Wing windows are awesome.
And wing windows are nice to have in a car.
Yeah, you can use them for ventilation. You can, you know, blow air across the windshield if it's damp out, you know, to keep the windshield from fogging up. You can angle it enough that it's blowing air across the dash, angle it at you.
Yeah.
You can just crack it for ventilation. That was like the perfect accessory.
But not no more.
No, because, you know, well, I don't know if they probably are now. I know the last car I seen that had like a frameless, no window frame around the door was like a Subaru.
Huh.
And I think BMWs and that, I don't know what newer stuff is like that. Pretty much all of them has a door frame anymore that comes around the window, the window rolls up into.
Probably.
There's really technically no true, you know, there's no true hard tops anymore, you know, that you can have the front and back window rolled down with nothing in between. There's no true hard tops anymore. You know, we pervert the system, you know, we call convertibles now roadsters for some reason, even though it has, you know, either a retractable top or, you know, a fold down top of some sort, but somewhere we got along the lines that we call a convertible car a roadster now.
Wow.
You know, a technical roadster, you know, doesn't have a top. It's an open top vehicle. You know, but just like Pennsylvania calls everything two-door is a coupe, even though it's not. You can have a two-door sedan if it has the door posts. It's a sedan.
You do that, don't
You or there, but yeah.
you?
But Pennsylvania, that's just basically it. If it's a two-door, it doesn't matter if it's a two-door hardtop or if it's a two-door post, any of that. It just says coupe. If it's a four-door, it says sedan.
Yeah.
Or station wagon. Yeah, that's our only designations here for vehicles, either coupe, sedan, station wagon, or truck.
Yeah, because
And a van falls in that category. If the van has windows, it's a station wagon. If the van is a cargo van, it's a truck. Well, convertible. Ragtop's tag convertible too. Right, because all the Samurais and Trackers with that always just says, you know, Suzuki convertible on Pennsylvania's documentation.
That's crazy. It's crazy, ain't it? That is.
I mean, you can't retrofit nothing. I mean, you can, but I guess if they could really get that bad though, but then again, the EPA put guys in jail for selling tuners and stuff, so.
Clearly,
Diesel
yeah.
guys, had companies that sold, parts to make them more reliable and more efficient on fuel, but,
They went to jail for that.
the government deems that illegal, so,
That ain't good.
we got an out of control government. Way, 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 way out of control. Our founders never envisioned the government to have the kind of power that this government has.
Well, we should be the one that has the power.
The people should have the power.
That's right, the people.
That's it. And
Right.
the problem is,
But
like I
the
said,
people's listening to them instead of them listening to the
the
people.
government doesn't fear the people though, because they live protecting the bubble. Because
Yeah.
you're not allowed to say nothing bad about them, you know what I mean? Because you'll get in trouble. Back when this country was founded, those guys that signed that document knew if they screwed the people over, that the people would probably drag them out in the street and deal with them.
Yeah, no more.
And that's how our system was supposed to work with the representatives. Yeah, we have representatives, but the representatives would go and they would vote what the people wanted because they feared the consequences if they voted for something the people didn't want. What consequences do they have now?
None.
The worst that can happen is they don't get voted for again. And they figured out ways around that anyway.
Yeah, they did.
So that shifts the balance of power. As long as that goes, that's the power shifted. The 18th Amendment that changed the balance of power in the United States. There's a reason we have, the House of Representatives and the Senate. The House of Representatives is to represent the people. That's our representatives. There's 435, and they're divided up amongst population. That way, equal representation for the people. The Senate was supposed to be the state's representation,
Yeah.
which means the senators were supposed to be picked by either state legislatures, state governments, or however the state, but the state picked the senators. That way the government had all parties were represented. The people were represented
Yeah.
in the people's interest, but also each individual state had their interests represented. So, you know what I mean? But by changing the rules and letting the Senate be voted popular vote like a representative, that shifted the balance of power, because now the state has no say in it anymore, and you just got an extra 100 representatives for the people.
Alan Core says we have been sold out by rich politicians.
Yeah. We let them sell us out, though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
We've been sold out, but we let it happen. All this stuff that's going on now, all of it's all our fault, because it's all of us that we just got up every morning and we went to work and we took care of our stuff and we said, hey, with them Fruit Loops over there doing, don't worry about it. It doesn't bother us. We was nice about it. Didn't want to hurt nobody, and we let this. This is the government we deserve because we created it. We allowed it to grow. Unfortunately, at this point, I don't know what we could do about it. There's nothing we can do about it.
Probably ain't.
We can try to get, others elected, but we see how well that works.
Yeah.
They change the rules, we count votes now for a week, it's election week now.
Not election day.
Yeah, and we have early voting for months leading up to it, mail in, you don't gotta prove who you are,
No.
you
You can go and vote. Don't even have to show ID.
well, it's not even that, you can mail in a vote.
Yeah, you can. We got mail-in votes, but I never mailed them in.
You have multiple mail-in ballots.
I did.
You can
Yeah.
vote it multiple times.
I got a lot of them. I think I got 2 and 3, and Matt got a couple.
I guess, had we known now, looking
We
back,
knew we
I
could've-
should have
we
filled
could-
them all out. send them in for the other guy because they were counting as many as they could for the other one.
We should have just filled them out and sent them in too, and then went and
But
voted.
everybody did, but that's our problem. Our side always does the right thing because we are the good people.
They could add 5 or 6 extra votes with them mail-in ballots we got.
We are good people and they know that and they use that against us.
Yeah.
You know, any law against any kind of firearm doesn't stop criminals. Criminals don't care.
No, they don't.
The only people that it affects is law-abiding citizens who will say, well, man, this is illegal now, I can't do it. Doesn't affect anybody else.
No. They surely don't.
I guess we're just going to have to start being the outlaws just the same, guys.
Be like the rest of them.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you got to respect the law enforcement. You can't act like an idiot.
Well,
Right or wrong, you know what I mean? Like I said, and we've all had negative interactions with police. All of us have.
everybody, yeah.
All of us have been doing something. Well, I would like to think most of us have been doing something that we probably shouldn't have been doing, and the cop rolled up on us, and you know they weren't happy about it. But it's how you handle that situation. You can't act stupid. If you're right, you're in the right. Okay, then you can argue with that cop all day on the side of the road. You're not going to win that argument. You're
Nope.
still gonna you're gonna get the
You're still
citation.
gonna
You're
get
gonna get whatever. You're gonna have to take it to a judge to straighten out. So fighting with that cop isn't gonna help your cause.
No.
And then, you know,
Things worse.
but we live in a society now where we're telling these, you know, kids, yeah, it's okay to fight with the cops and run from the cops. I seen that video, man, that poor cop on the hood of that car, and he didn't, I would have shot him. As soon as that guy gave that car gas, because that cop was on the hood,
Yeah.
and he had his gun right at him. The other cop was at the door, and he saw him shut the car off. The guy put a gear in that cop, stayed till it finally flipped off. I would have shot that guy, and that cop had every right to shoot that guy.
Yeah, but he,
If I drive off with a cop on the hood of my car, I should be shot for being an idiot.
yeah. He should have.
And it's idiots like that. The cops are scared to do anything because
Yeah, people
they'll
don't-
write that, well, the news will go on and get everybody wound up. And the government will go on and get everybody wound up, get them all rioting and fired up and burning their cities down. And the only person that win in that, the politicians, because they gain more power.
Yeah. That's pretty true.
You know, in Baltimore, in Baltimore, they got them all wound up over guys career criminal.
Yeah.
Okay, with the cops doing, probably the cops gave him a rough ride in the back of the vehicle, but he was back there jumping around too. If he would have just sat on the seat, you
Like
know,
he should have done.
he might have got bounced around a little bit, but it probably wouldn't have been that bad. But, you know, the cops were watching when he would jump up in the air, you know, the cop would slam the brake. Well, you're moving, the vehicle starts, you're going to slam into the back of it. It's that simple. You know, and the guy's back there acting a fool like that, you're handcuffed so you can't catch yourself, and the guy ends up, I think he ended up breaking his neck, you know what I mean? Like I said, the cops gave him a rough ride, probably, but there's a lot more. The cops had to chase him and give the cop attitude. They're human. You're going to get them in a bad mood then. But because the guy, you know, does that, dies, you know, then the news goes on and winds up and they burn down the only drugstore in the whole neighborhood.
Oh, yeah. The only one.
You know, now these poor people can't go get their medicine or anything. And nobody cares. You know, basically now the DA's quit prosecuting people in a lot of these states. You got like Walmarts are shutting down and leaving cities because they said they're losing people stealing.
Well,
Because they won't prosecute nobody for stealing. And then they're wondering, they're blaming Walmart. Well, Walmart's closing down and leaving. Well, yeah, we'll quit robbing it. How do you expect them to stay open if you go there and steal every day?
yeah. Can't do that. And then stay in business.
You know, well, like these people think they can do it because the news, the media, you know, encourages it, and there's no consequences. That's really the biggest issue of society right now. Is we got a whole generation of people that's been raised with no, or, with no consequences. Don't worry about doing a good job. If you win or lose, we'll still give you a trophy. You're still a special little boy. You just, you know what? So what? You didn't win. Here's your trophy.
That's what they do now.
So what? You've been,
They do
smoking
that.
crack all day, and you ran all those people over and outran the cops and pulled the gun on the cop. He shouldn't have shot you. That's such a mean cop. Let's burn our city down because the cop shot the guy, Because he didn't do nothing wrong. He was such a good little boy. And it's all these people that have rap sheets,
Yeah.
10 miles long, and they're on there how he didn't do nothing, he was a good little boy. Well, why'd he pull a gun on a cop then?
Don't know.
Ain't even saying anything. If the cops show up and you take off running, you can run. Just make sure you're not carrying a weapon. If you got a weapon, then they're gonna probably shoot at you. If you're not armed and you're just running away from them, they're gonna chase you probably, but they're more than likely not gonna shoot you. They might get all muddy and fall down or whatever,
Yeah,
and
they
give
never
you a little,
shot.
rough you up a little
They
bit.
never shot,
Huh?
They left it. He ran and ran, never got shot.
Yeah. A lot of
Run 'em
people
all
running
through
never got
everywhere.
shot because they
So
knew you wasn't armed. That's one thing.
They knew you didn't have no guns
They
on
knew
them.
you wasn't going to try to harm them. You might try to get away, but you wasn't going to try to hurt them.
No, you got away, but sooner or later you still get caught.
Yeah, but they knew that you
Yeah,
wasn't
they
trying
knew.
to hurt them.
Yeah, they knew that. They knew you just run because you didn't want to go to jail.
You get
Didn't have no
get
weapons
caught,
or
you just
nothing.
accept it. You didn't win that round. They won.
Yeah,
And they won, you lost.
exactly. Not good.
It's not nothing personal. They're doing their job to try to catch you. You're doing your job trying to get away.
Mhm.
Nothing personal. It's the way it is.
Yeah, it is.
But instead, let's reward stupidity. And that's what we do now, and that's why we're where we're at. It's
Reward.
got to change, man. It can't stay this way. There's no way.
They can't.
No, there's no way as a society that we can stay this way. You tell me how that's going to work. How long is our civilization going to hold together when it's like that? When we're holding up criminals as heroes, and we're blaming the police, for doing their job. We're brainwashing people that somehow, that if you make guns illegal, that the criminals are just going to wake up and be like, oh man, guns are illegal. Oh man, we better get rid of these guns. We can't have them. You mean it's illegal?
Yeah.
Can't have a gun? Oh man. Yeah, hey Joe, yeah, remember how we was going to go rob that liquor store, right? Yeah. Oh, we can't do it now, man. They just made guns illegal. Oh, you're kidding me, man. Yeah, I'm gathering mine up right now. Why don't you go ahead and gather yours up? We'll just ride down and hand them over to police because we don't want to break the law. Yeah, all right, man. Yeah, just pick me up. That'll never happen. Yeah, but that's their logic. This is our supposed government. That's their logic. That someone's gonna be like, yeah, sure, man. Oh man, this is illegal, guys.
Done, man.
Guns illegal. Jeez. I got an idea. It's illegal to kill people.
Yeah.
Period. It is.
It is.
So you don't got to make guns illegal because it's illegal to kill people with a gun. It's illegal to kill people with anything in a civilized society. So therefore, make it something illegal ain't going to make it go away.
The one just got killed in Big. They stabbed them.
Yeah, because they will.
They better eat the knives now. I better take them off everybody too.
Europe in
Knives.
Europe, there's European countries that do ban knives.
Yeah. They better start banning.
How about just get rid of the bad guys?
How about that? They'll be banning
Just-
knives.
Yeah, just quit babying these career criminals. If they're bad people, then deal with them. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you don't just go out and kill people. You know, of course they gotta have a trial. They gotta be fair
Yeah.
because innocent people do get wrapped up and stuff. I understand that completely, but at the same time, quit rewarding people being criminals because it's not gonna stop. You know, the criminals sit around. Most people who are criminals, that's their that's their greatest dream. They're like, man, it'd be so good if the government just said guns are illegal, then all the good people wouldn't have guns. We could do whatever we want because no one could stop us.
No, nobody could.
And
It's ridiculous.
it is ridiculous. They're blaming a certain kind of gun because one's scarier looking than the other.
Yeah. That's why.
You know, yeah, you know that an M14, you know, an M14 or an M1 Garand, you know, much more powerful than an AR-15. But the fact is that AR-15 is black and scary looking. So, yeah, that's why you want to ban it. Well, that's the logic. They teach these people that live off of their feelings, you know, and not reality. You scare those people and they're willing to do it. That's why we're not a democracy, though, because if we was a democracy, then all they got to do is just allow some nut job to go in and kill a bunch of kids, and you could probably get a majority of the population to be like, oh man, we don't want to see that happen, we better ban this. No. That's why our founders were smart enough to make us a representative, you know, constitutional republic. That way at least it would have some cool down period between the time the people are outraged, you know, and the time it went to the politicians. You know, you'd have a little bit of thought to think rationally and say, hey man, that doesn't make any sense. If we ban that, then the good guys can't use it.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
Well, you know what it is though right now. They know that as long as, yeah, somehow banning guns, they would go away tomorrow.
No.
Yeah, there's not
That's
many,
what they thought.
Now, there's over 300 million guns in this country that they know about. That's not counting what they don't know about. You know, the fact that you can still technically make your own firearms, you know what I mean? So,
That's bad too, they say.
huh?
They don't want you to make your own.
But yeah, but you're technically you can, you know what I mean? And we break the rules, you know. Can you imagine if you infringed on any other right? Well, you don't have to imagine because they did. They infringed on people's, you know, freedom of religion during the lockdown. You know, they wouldn't let people go to their church and that. So, but, and conservative press, you know, their voices are silenced versus the liberal press is allowed to say whatever ridiculous nonsense they decide to spew. But of all the rights we have, there's only one right in the Bill of Rights that our founders believed firmly enough in that they actually wrote shall not be infringed on. Now there's the thing, you know, the Firearm Act of 34 and the 63, they're both, you know what them were really about. The Firearm Act there, especially the one in the 60s, that was about disarming black people.
Yeah.
They didn't, you know what I mean? That was during that time, you know, when the party with the D beside their name, you know what I mean, was still upset that Lincoln freed them. So, but it's a shame. You ask a lot of kids today. A lot of kids don't even know that Lincoln wasn't a Democrat. You know what I mean? Because they think that they've been brainwashed. And we can't say it on here, but everybody knows what Lyndon Johnson was favored from saying. He said, "I'll have these voting for Democrat for the next 150 years." because that's all they were to them was votes. That's how, and that goes clear back all the way to the founding of this country. The South wanted to use, they wanted the slaves for the representatives, but they didn't want to treat them as people. All people are equal. It doesn't matter that. And you treat everybody equally the way they treat you.
Should be that way.
But somehow the Democrat Party has tricked the population into them believing that they're the ones that are anti-slavery and that they're the ones that's for civil rights. But they kept blocking it. But those acts, all those firearm acts, what we were trying to lead to, they're all unconstitutional. It said it shall not be infringed.
Yeah.
There should be no waiting list. There should be no background check. You shouldn't even have to give your name to buy a gun. You should be able to just walk in the gun store, pick up a gun, buy it, and walk out. It shouldn't matter who you are, any of that, as long as you're an adult, 18, because it's originally meant, but there shouldn't be no restrictions on it. That's what the Second Amendment says. Shall not be infringed. And you get these idiots on it. What does that mean? That you can own tanks and missiles and fighter jets? Yeah, you should be able to. As a matter of fact, around that time, there was people with money would own ships with cannons on. They were called privateers. And the government would hire them when they needed, more firepower and a military action. So yes, we should be able to own that stuff. We should be able to own the exact same weapons that our government has because we're in charge of the government.
So,
Shall not be infringed. And that's just what it is. They should be everywhere. Like I said, ATF shouldn't be an agency. It should be a convenience store. It should be a place you run to on a Friday night to get ready for the weekend. Hold on, we got to run down to the ATF and get supplies for the weekend. Because that's what it should be.
well, it ain't.
ATF, it should be a store where you buy alcohol, tobacco, and firearms.
Well, there ain't.
It should be a convenience store, not an agency.
Should be, but it's not.
Any of these that aren't written, any of these agencies like that, ATF, EPA, DOJ, none of those had constitutional authority. Those are all created by the legislative branch, okay? Now, they shouldn't be able to make rules that we have to follow. The only people that make rules that we have to follow is our representatives.
That's true.
Some agency, some government non-elected bureaucrat shouldn't be able to wake up one morning and decide, you know what, this black stock looks scary, so we should make a rule you're not allowed to have black scary stocks. And if you do, it'll be a felony to have it. Who gave them that power?
I don't know.
People didn't give them that power. The Constitution doesn't give them that power.
They got it that they made their own. I guess. I don't know.
I hear people all the time, and they talk about that. They're like, about, a revolt, or a second civil war, all that. We don't need that because us as people, if any of that would happen, we lose ultimately. Well, what we do need is we need a hard reset to get back to our founding principles and our founding laws that made this country great for the last 247 years.
They need to make it great again.
We just need to get rid of the agencies that aren't constitutional and just let people live and do what they want. If you're not harming anybody else, then you do you. Anybody, even the Trinity Tunes, if they want to do that, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just don't push it on kids and leave people alone.
True.
Do whatever you want in your home. When you're home or wherever you're at, you're with your friends. If your friends are the same way, do whatever you want. Just don't force me to go along with it, and don't force it on kids.
No, did you say them rotors was good on my car?
Yeah, your rotors are probably alright. They were always a little warm.
There's a little yet.
Yeah. When you live in a mountainous area, you're never gonna have good rotors.
I'm just wondering what they look. They was good bag.
I don't know. I didn't really drive it since I put the pads on it. I know they would get warm before it shake a little bit. So I
They
imagine
still
they
do. Yep,
That's fine.
they still do.
The Honda shake. That's because we get crap rotors. These things are, poured by some guy.
Well, I don't know where
They're poured in India or Pakistan or somewhere by some guy. And these guys are amazing. The stuff they do, but they're out there with no shoes, just melting down whatever iron they can find, and pouring them into rotors.
Do we need some for Tommy's car?
Tommy's car will need rotors, yeah. Well, like I said, they're Honda Civic rotors. They're like the most common rotor on the face of the earth. But, what was that?
Big bug?
What kind of bug?
I don't know, that's
Why do we kill bugs?
Because I don't like big bugs like that.
Why'd you deprive that bug of its right?
Why not? It goes up and
It's 9/11.
yeah, 9/11. I did not.
But yeah, so as a hot rodder community, we're gonna have to start watching guys because they're gonna start coming after us. This is their next thing, and they're gonna really, really start pushing this climate change agenda on us hard. So be ready for it. Be vigilant.
That was one of them.
Pay attention when you go to the polls because they've only been, even. Here's the thing with recording temperature, and this is going back through years and saying about the temperature, okay? I don't even believe if they tell me that it's warmer today than it was 100 years ago because they've been recording temperatures for 100 years. I'm still not going to believe it because today's thermometer is going to be way more accurate than when it was made 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So any of that stuff recorded on them old thermometers, you can't take that reliable anyway.
No. I stood.
So, this Earth has been here for 4.5 billion years. And you're going to tell me that the Earth is getting hotter over something that just happened a few days. That's like you waking up tomorrow morning, poking your head out your window, and if it's raining, pulling your head back in your window, looking at everybody and say, well, when I stuck my head out the window, it was raining, so it must rain all the time here.
Yeah.
Because that quick blip, 150 years or so of recorded temperature versus 4.5 billion is not even a blink of an eye in the amount of recorded history.
Yeah, remember the other day, wasn't it yesterday it was supposed to rain?
Yeah, well, they got that. They got weapons to do that, honestly. I think the government's learned how to manipulate the weather, too.
I don't know. I know it was supposed to, but it didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't rain.
I wouldn't doubt it. They have technology. I'm sure you can blast energy at clouds,
Maybe.
No, I'm sure you can.
They control the
Because,
weather.
our Earth is just simple physics, how everything works. The whole cycle of the Earth between rain and all that, it's all between hot and cold, just how things circulate.
Yeah.
So, that could be easily manipulated,
Would be, ain't it?
I think, a bunch of people put a bunch of, if you put a bunch of solar panels on Earth, I think that would cause the temperature to rise just the same because now you're absorbing all that heat, heat that would normally just convert into an energy when a lot of that would just, reflect back into the air, back out into space.
Yeah. Oh.
They've been telling us for how many years we're running out of oil, yet, they find more oil every day. They go back to some of these wells that was empty, 75 years ago, and there's oil in them again. It's the perfect power source. Cars have gotten so clean now, I mean, honestly, you can't smell their exhaust or anything now. I think most cars are burned, no gas engines burn so clean today. Other than the carbon monoxide, I mean, everything else you can pretty much practically breathe what's coming out of the tailpipe. It's been so clean.
It ain't, it's not really that don't bother me.
You know, it was far dirtier back in the day when you had like, crankcases.
Don't knock him over.
You had crankcases into the atmosphere and things like that.
Knock my bug over, I kill him.
Huh?
Don't knock my bug over, I kill him. I got him
guess.
standing up like I think he was a pinky, but one of them bugs a pinky.
Maybe so.
It looked like him. He ain't gonna pinch nobody now because I watched him.
And I guess, guys, we can get ready to wrap it up here for tonight. Thanks everybody for tuning in and hanging out. I mean, we didn't talk much cars tonight. We was on rants about government. But I hope everybody's okay with that. If you are, then I guess you're returned. If not, we understand. But I don't know. We're coming to an inflection point soon, and we're gonna have to figure something out because we can't keep pushing this country and pushing the people as far as we can. We need to take back control of our country again without violence, but we do need to take back control of our country. So, till next week, everybody have a good week. Thanks for stopping in. Alan Accord, he was waiting a while tonight, so thanks, Alan. Appreciate it. Pat Max, Don English, JB, Colleen, Dwayne, everybody stops in.
For all the guys that stopped in.
Thanks for stopping in, guys. See you next week. You know how it goes. We got a car pulling in now, maybe sneaking up pulling and trying to kill us.
Oh, yeah.
Multiple cars going in.
Huh?
There's a multiple cars. There's a man there.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe Reggie behind her.
I don't know.
We're being invaded, guys. No, we're not being invaded. It's Amanda.
That's just Amanda, guys. That's all.
Did you? We're at. You're alive, so you know. You're fine. Come on camera, just,
You can come on camera, Amanda, and tell them hello. You haven't seen them for weeks, or heard them, talk to them.
Hello.
Hello. Nice.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything.
Thanks for being
She just killed it. She just killed it like 5 minutes ago.
Is it dead?
It's dead now.
Well, you better kill him more. If not, I'm about to kill him more.
I put him like that.
I'll take a picture of him.
No, I want a picture on my phone.
I'll take a picture and send it to you.
No, stop. He's dead.
What I was saying was, I don't know if they would be appreciative of me stopping up. and
Alright,
letting them
guys.
know.
Alright. Yeah, we'll
All
get
right.
off here then.
Remember, you can race your
Everybody-
car, but you can't sleep in
Sleep
your house.
No.
You can
Oh,
sleep
is
in
it
your
the
car,
horse?
but you can't race your house.
Oh, how'd I
Sleep
do
in
that?
your car.
You can sleep in your car, but you can't race your house.
Alright, good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.
I
Have a
can't
good
believe I messed that up. I can't believe it. I do.
Anyhow.